Let us first acknowledge that the land now known as Solano County is the traditional land of the Patwin people, who now live on as the Yoshadihi Winton Nation. Acknowledgement is just the first step. Please take the time to learn more about Indigenous history. Bart. Bart. The Bart. Bart. Is Bart coming to Solano County? You've probably heard this question before. Is it ever happening? Back in the first half of the 20th century, residents and officials across the Bay Area were growing concerned over a familiar problem: traffic. In response, the state legislature formed the San Francisco Bay Area Rapid Transit Commission in 1951 to study how best to address the region's growing transportation needs. The commission was made up of representatives from throughout the 9-county Bay Area, including representatives from Solano County. In 1957, the commission concluded that a new transit district should be created to operate a high-speed rapid rail network to serve the region. Early conceptual maps showcase an interconnected regional rail system that looped through the 9 counties surrounding the bay. These maps show future planned conceptual lines from Richmond and Concord crossing the Carquinez to Vallejo and Fairfield. Ultimately, however, that new transit district, entitled the Bay Area Rapid Transit District, would only consist of 5 counties, and later only 3, with Solano not being one of them. Still, that hasn't prevented further discussions about bringing the transit system across the strait into Solano. Per the Daily Republic, in 1990, it would have cost $1.4 billion to extend BART across the Benicia Martinez Bridge to Vallejo. This was in spite of BART's president at the time urging county officials to support such an extension. In 1992, BART studied extending the Richmond line up to Crockett, over the Carquinez Strait, and into Vallejo. This likewise would have costed over $1 billion at the time. Again in 2010, Vallejo officials submitted ideas for BART to come to the city to the Solano Transportation Authority. Solano County Supervisor Jim Sparing, who is also the county's representative on the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, said the following: "It's really not affordable. That's the problem, just the tremendous cost of bringing it." But just because BART hasn't come to Solano doesn't mean that it hasn't expanded to other places in the Bay. Different places have taken different approaches to getting the system to come to their cities. When the Bay Area Rapid Transit District was first formed in 1957, Santa Clara County, the home of San Jose and what would later be known as Silicon Valley, was not included. The county would not get a light rail system until the launch of the Valley Transportation Authority, or VTA, in 1987. In 2000, however, Santa Clara voters decided to bring BART to the county with the passage of Measure A. This measure implemented a 30-year half-cent sales tax meant to fund the many public transit projects throughout the county, one of which would be a BART extension from Alameda County into Santa Clara. In 2008, the county voted again to enact an additional 1/8 cent sales tax to subsidize future BART operations and maintenance. And then again in 2016, voters overwhelmingly decided to add an additional 30-year half-cent sales tax to help fund the Silicon Valley BART extension. When completed, BART will have been extended from Fremont all the way to a new station at Santa Clara, where riders will be able to transfer to Caltrain. VTA, the county's local transit agency, is in charge of constructing the infrastructure to realize the project, while BART is in charge of operations and maintenance. In addition to the numerous ballot measures passed to fund the Silicon Valley extension, the project has also faced many delays, with both the Warm Springs and Berryessa extensions opening years past initially planned. If Solano County wanted to bring BART to the county, residents could try funding the extension the same way that Silicon Valley did. However, it is likely that such a project would face many of the same cost overruns and delays that the Santa Clara extension had. This might even be exacerbated by the logistics of having to cross the Carquinez Strait. However, If there is sufficient demand to bring BART to the county, Solano voters could definitely vote on some sort of tax to help fund the project. Over in East Contra Costa County, Antioch, Oakley, and Brentwood residents recently began using their own BART extension. Before the extension, these Delta communities still had to pay BART taxes as Contra Costa was part of the Bay Area Rapid Transit District. After the passage of Measure J in 2004, planning for the extension began, with approvals gained in 2009 and construction starting in 2011. The eBART extension is completely incompatible with the rest of the BART system, relying on a different set of tracks and trains. Instead of the iconic electric trains, eBART uses diesel. Additionally, passengers must transfer between the two systems at an auxiliary station between Pittsburgh and Bay Point. Using this different system, however, helped to cut the cost of the extension in half from about $1.2 billion to $552 million. Solano County could take a similar approach to East County with WBART, or the West Contra Costa County BART extension. In 2017, the West Contra Costa Transportation Advisory Committee explored bringing BART to Hercules. Initially considered were both conventional BART technology and the diesel-powered units used by eBART. However, the committee decided to only advance the conventional system for further study. With a cost estimated around $4 billion, along with greater support for a capital corridor station on the city's waterfront, it does not appear that a WBART extension to Hercules, much less to Vallejo, will be happening anytime soon. There are a lot of logistical challenges that prevent BART from easily expanding to Solano County. How's it gonna get across the Carquinez Strait? Do we need to build a new bridge? Where are the tracks gonna go? How much is it gonna cost to obtain the appropriate right-of-way? Where should we even put stations? Do we even want to tax ourselves to fund such a project? With a BART extension likely not happening anytime soon, Solano residents will need to continue commuting to Contra Costa to get on the system. However, there are other ways to get on BART without needing to drive. Capital Corridor, which has stations in Suisun City and Fairfield, also has a station in Richmond. There, riders can easily transfer onto BART. Solano Express, which has stops throughout the county, also brings residents to BART stations at El Cerrito del Norte, Walnut Creek, and Pleasant Hill. Additionally, with the possible future conversion of Solano Express into a bus rapid transit light service, Solano Express might provide many of the same benefits that having BART would have. For now, it might be better to focus on what we already have. With future plans to upgrade Capital Corridor and better connectivity through the Link 21 project, Solano might not need BART. The future of Solano might have other things in store instead. If you like this video, please be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to Solano Futuro if you want to hear more about development in Solano County, and hit the bell to be instantly notified whenever we upload a new video. And of course, be sure to visit Solano Futuro to learn more about all new projects in Solano County. We'll be sure to keep you updated on all new developments and El Futuro. Until next time.